Hi everyone, it's Megan with Teach Me ABA, and today we'll be talking about how to decrease your child's and your frustration while you're working on schoolwork. Becoming your child's teacher is no easy feat. Your child's frustration can be contagious and you can start to get irritated yourself, which doesn't do anybody any good. So today I'll give you a couple tips about how you can decrease your and your child's frustration and make the best out of this time. My first piece of advice is to realize that you and your child are on the same team. A lot of times children get frustrated because they feel like their parents are against them when they're doing homework. Maybe they're making mistakes and they're getting a lot of corrective feedback, and this can really cause harm to your relationship with your child. Approaching these situations with a little empathy can go a long way and save a lot of time in the long run. Where your child may be spending a lot of time trying to avoid their schoolwork, you may have to nag them for minutes on end, or they may even get so upset that they start crying. This takes up a lot of time during your day and is really emotionally draining. So if you preempt that by showing a little bit of emotional support and letting them know that you're there to support them, it can make a big difference and save you time in the long run. My second tip is to use errorless teaching strategies. This may sound kind of hokey and scientific, but it'll also go a long way with decreasing frustration. When you use errorless teaching, you're preventing your child from making a mistake. So when you're presenting some new teaching materials to your child, if you don't see them heading towards the right answer in 3 to 5 seconds, jump in and give them a little bit of help. So for example, if you're working on sight words with your kid, you might show them the word, and if they're not starting to articulate the correct word in 3 to 5 seconds, go ahead and just let them know what that word is. Have them repeat it back to you and tell them nice job. When they start getting things on their own, be even more enthusiastic. Maybe toss them a favorite snack. Make it more fun. This will make them want to be more independent in the future and less reliant on you. You can use the same type of strategy on learning letters, learning new words, maybe learning pictures, or even simple math flashcards. My third tip is to use mistakes as teaching opportunities. One of my favorite quotes is that success is on the far side of failure. That means that a lot of times we may stumble before we actually succeed at something. So when you use these mistakes as teaching opportunities, you're actually teaching your child that this struggle isn't necessarily a bad thing. Nobody likes to be wrong. So if you're a little more delicate when you're letting your child know that they made a mistake, they'll respond a lot better. Maybe instead of erasing the math problem that they just completed and telling them to do it again, you can sit down with them and coach them through that thought process that you would have when you're solving the problem. So a lot of children have difficulty understanding whether a word problem would lead to an addition math problem or a subtraction math problem. So what I like to do in those sorts of instances is read the sentence with them and see if they can find that one word. There are a lot of steps and there's a lot of critical thinking that's needed for these things, and especially for those sorts of situations, your children can use a little more support. My final piece of advice is to give your child and yourself some time to breathe after you do some work. Take a break. It's okay. We're in the middle of a pandemic right now. You don't need to be as productive as you were when the world is normal. We don't have our normal recharge times that we used to. We can't go to sporting events. We can't go out to our favorite restaurants. So there's a lot of frustration built up. So take it easy. Don't put too much pressure on yourself or your children. You'll succeed a lot more if you're in a better mood than if you're cranky because you're pushing too much pressure on everybody. I hope you found these tips useful and that you and your kids are having a successful pandemic. If there are any other topics that you'd like us to cover, please leave a comment below. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Megan from Teach Me ABA.